Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well, wherever in the world you find yourself when you listen to this recording. I don't know, guys. I've been out of it for like 2 days now. Like really, really out of it. I don't know if you guys could tell yesterday, but I was just so out of it, and I could barely think today. We've been bombarded with so much energy, and my body is processing it better the more I sleep. So I just gave into it, and I've been sleeping a lot the last couple days, and I also started eating meat, which is weird because I wasn't eating meat for a while, and as I started eating meat, I now have so much energy right after I eat. If I eat vegetables, man, I'll go to sleep for 3 hours right after. If I eat fruit, I'm okay for a few minutes and I'm still tired. If I eat meat, like a steak, half a steak, I'm wide awake. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, baby. I have so much like energy from it, and I know my body prefers that kind of a diet, and it's just, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because 2 days ago when I mentioned Dr. Berg and the eating the high protein diets versus the low protein diets, depending on your body type, I did forget to mention that you can use spirulina as a meat replacement in the event that you are a vegetarian or a vegan. I mean, I was a vegetarian for 9 years, so I get it. It's hard when you've committed to something and then, you come across the perfect ideal solution, but oh wait, it's not vegetarian. Dr. Berg does have some vegetarian and vegan solutions, so just look him up on his YouTube channel and you will figure it out. But I don't know, for me, being a vegetarian for 9 years, it really just about killed me. I was so sick after 9 years that I almost died. In fact, my doctor said all my organs are shutting down one at a time. And one of my doctors said, basically, I'm not expected to live past like a year and a half. He said, probably within the year I'll develop cancer, and then I probably won't live more than a year after that. And I was told that when my son was born, my youngest, and he's 16 and a half right now. So, I mean, I've made it 16 years, but I don't know, just not everyone's cut out for that kind of a diet. And it's something I struggle with every day because I want to be able to just, A, it's cheaper just to eat vegetables, and B, it's less cleanup and it's less hassle. You don't need to go buy a barbecue to make carrots, even though they're better on a barbecue. But I don't know. I just, I started eating meat again a few days ago, and I feel fantastic when I eat meat. I've been out of it for 2 days because being bombarded by all this energy, but usually when I eat any kind of meal, if it's just vegetables, I will fall asleep almost right away after. And when I eat meat, I'm awake for 4 or 5 hours, just like, yeah, tons of energy. So, I don't know. I told you guys about my theory about it, and I'd asked God, and the answer to it was people that are vegan and vegetarian, when they're spiritual, tend to focus a lot on grounding, putting their feet into the ground. They have to ground. It's so important to ground. And people that are meat eaters, because we're eating meat, we're already grounded. And so we're always like thinking, raise your vibration, put your head into the clouds, put your consciousness up, think of the other dimensions, go up. And I think that there might just be kind of a dichotomy going on, but it's okay. We're all getting there. We're just getting there in different ways, and we're getting there in different vehicles. And some vehicles use solar panels and some use fossil fuels, but we're still on the same road. We're still going on the same path. It's just that we're taking a different vehicle to get there. It's just the years I struggled being a vegetarian, just trying to do the right thing by the planet. And that it almost killed me is like telling. And it's not like I didn't know about the meat substitutes, or I didn't know about the protein requirements, or, you know, I did all my research. I turned vegetarian when I graduated from university with my degree in psychology, and I ended up dating a guy who was a vegetarian, and all of his friends were. So I was surrounded by the best of the best as far as people who know how. Like, one of his friends was from India, and so we ate a lot of Indian food, and I learned how to cook Indian food. I mean, all of that. And it's good for you. It's really good. The spices, it keeps you healthy. But not 100% if your body is supposed to eat meat. So, I don't know. It's one of the struggles, but I'm going back to the Dr. Berg diets. I was inspired after I told you guys about that 2 days ago. I'm like, yeah, you know what? So I have plans to get all my leafy green vegetables and start my spinach shakes soon. In the meantime, I've been eating wheat grass powder. I have organic whole wheat grass powder. And I put that in water, and it's so good. And that also gives me energy. But there was something else I forgot to mention also, was that a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water. And if you do that every single night before you sleep, that will help flush out your body, take out toxins. And if you have to lose weight, it will help you lose weight. But it also balances the pH of everything in your body. Even though it seems like it would be like skewing you to one side of the spectrum, it actually gets everything perfect. So apple cider vinegar, especially when it's organic. So I don't know, it's a helpful hint for right now. Ascension symptom scale, guys, we're still at 99. 99. That's so high. We're still like just going through it, but it seems more intense. Does it seem more intense for you guys? I mean, I feel like less physically dense. I mentally maybe more dense. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just feel like my body's been given these waves of light have been passing over my body when I sleep. And when I get really still, suddenly I can't feel my body anymore. And I just feel like I'm a part of the surroundings, and I've been feeling electrical. But at the same time, a lot of pain in my spine still. But then when I get up and I move around a little bit, I'm fine. The pain goes away. Maybe because I'm just sleeping so much lately. But, I don't know. See, I say sleepy, and now I'm sleepy. I've been out of it for days. Okay. But I don't know. Are you guys feeling it? Are you feeling the energy is just, I feel like almost like we've reached a different level and we've reached a different space. And Mahavatar Babaji wants to come through me today. I'm going to channel him in a minute. He is a very special guru. He's a spiritual master, but he's beyond that. He's actually an avatar. He's lived on the planet for more than 4,000 years, and so he's still alive. He's not in the ethereal realms only, but he tends to live up there. And when he's needed here, he will appear in physical form. Many, many times he's touched me on the forehead or put his hand on my head when I sleep, because he wants me to be assured. He wants me to always think about God. I mean, he's a pretty cool guy. Mahavatar Babaji started Kriya Yoga, and it was Paramahansa Yogananda that brought this to the Western world. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known about it. So I'm going to channel him in a minute. My higher guidance said it was a channeling day. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I couldn't believe he said Mahavatar Babaji. I'm like, oh, he's one of my favorite people ever. So, all right, I'm going to read you guys a Schumann resonance today, and then we're going to get right on into the channel. Okay. At 13:30, so they didn't do a morning one, I guess. At 13:30 UTC time, they write, again, another day of intense activity. After some peaks of 20 hertz, starting from midnight UTC, the greatest increase in frequency amplitude started at 2 a.m. UTC time, when the average stabilized at 50 hertz for about 2 hours. Shortly after 7 UTC, there was the highest peak of the day at 83 hertz. After which the values returned for another 4 hours on the 50 hertz frequency threshold. From 11 UTC, there was a decrease towards 20 hertz. Now it says at 17 o'clock UTC time, the decrease in amplitude values, as mentioned above, started at 11 UTC and took 4 hours to return to normal values. So I guess the big takeaway is we were at 50 or above for a long time in the past 24 hours, but the biggest peak was 83 hertz. So yeah, I mean, you know, we're getting there. Every little bit of this helps, obviously. I don't know, guys. I think we might just be ascending. I know, I feel like my head is ascended. I'm just like, so, I feel floaty and outside of time. I've been feeling really crazy for like 2 days. Like, not crazy, but just crazy tired. And that's what I mean. Not crazy insane, but just like crazy, like a lot, much, very, very, very tired, very out of it, very unfocused, but also filled with a lot of space for my mind to breathe. Probably because I started eating meat too. That's the other thing. I mean, the first time, like 2 days ago when I had meat, I was like, wow, I suddenly had no more anxiety. I felt really good. I felt like, okay, this is what having a free and clear mental space looks like. It's been a long time since I had heavy, dense protein like that. So maybe that's what I need to clear my head. I noticed that my anxiety and cortisol levels went down, so that could be something. I don't know why. I don't know. I have to be a light warrior that eats meat versus a light worker who eats just vegetables. It's so weird. My body's like, yeah, meat, let's go. It feels so great. I found this great butcher shop. It just opened, and it's like this New York style place, and the meat is so healthy. It's organic, it's free range, the animals are loved. Makes a difference. It really, really makes a difference. It's really obvious, the difference too. So I don't know. The butcher shop opens up, and then I decide to go back on the diet that healed me before. And I know this time I'm going to heal everything, allergies, asthma, everything with it. All right, universe, I get it. This is where I'm at until we go all the way up and till we get to the point where we don't need to eat anymore. But I think we're still going to have to eat in the fifth dimension, just a little bit less food overall. All right, so I am going to take a quick break. Go ahead and let this play while you run off and get a drink of water or whatever it is that you guys do. I don't know what you do. I'll be right back, and I'm going to channel the avatar, Mahavatar, Babaji. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions, and I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you could get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. All right, guys, I am connected to Mahavatar Babaji. He is an avatar. He was born in India over 4,000 years ago, and he remains there today, although he vibrates at such a high rate that people don't normally come across him. They don't see him very often. When he lowers his vibration, then people can see him. So, you're with me? He says, I am with you. All right, Mahavatar Babaji, do you want me to ask you questions, or do you just have a message for us today? A message. Okay, did you say my dear sister? Okay, he says, I have a message for you, my dear sister. Is it for me or for all of humanity? It's for all of humanity. Okay, he says, I wish to share this with the world. Good. All right. So I'm going to take a deep breath, and we are going to start. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Okay. All right. He says, from the dawn of time, from whence humanity came, you were always meant to culminate in these final moments of Earth. Not all of you who began this journey in the beginning are here on the planet now, because not everybody could take it. It's too, like, he's trying to show you that it's too much. It's too much of a hassle. Is that kind of what you mean? Yeah, okay. He would never use the word hassle. That's my word, guys. Okay. So it's too much of a hassle. He was going to say inconvenience. There we go, inconvenience. Okay. Living on Earth was quite the inconvenience, as you are aware, with the dual nature, the duality of everything and danger at every turn. This world presented quite a lot of excitement for the new young souls coming to the planet. But after several lifetimes, most souls have decided to stay put in heaven on the other side. And basically, when you look around at all of the millions, billions of souls on the planet now, a greater majority of them are not originally from Earth. These souls come from other galaxies, faraway places. This was the most exciting time to be on this planet because you are at the precipice of something grand. This is our new birth. We're creating a new Earth together, and we're lifting it up physically into a higher realm. This is not a common occurrence in the universe. This is not anything that any of you thought you could potentially anticipate, because this has been a million years in the making, 10 million, but no one believed it. Before you came here to this plane of existence, before you were born, for this life that you're in now, that you are living now, this life, you knew that there was a possibility this was going to happen. You knew there was the potential for this to happen. You knew that you were signing up for this to happen in case this happened. But you still didn't believe it. No one really believed this. But it's happening. Oh, it's happening. He's giving me this look like it is happening. Now, thousands of years ago, I myself made this physical journey into the upper realms. I assure you, I know it's not easy. You are getting many symptoms and many signs that something is amiss in your bodies, in your minds. You're not feeling clear or okay every day anymore. And yet doctors can't find a single thing wrong with you when you seek medical attention. Am I right? The greater majority of you that have tried to seek medical help for this, there's no help for there's no medical help for Ascension, because you don't need a medic for this. You just need to trust, and you need to rely on God and keep your faith about you. I am here to assure you that all of the spiritual masters that have ascended before you, we're here. We're on your side. We are beaming at you a steady stream of constant white light to help you lift up, up, up. We want you to understand how important it is for all of you to lift up at this moment in history. We want you to understand that it's not just your spiritual growth anymore. It's our spiritual growth, because we all are one. You're moving into a realm with the law of one. He got that from my subconscious mind because I said that to you guys the other day. And yet that does not make it less true. He caught that. Okay. You guys are standing on the precipice of something great, with all the galaxies and all the universe and all the heavens are watching you. But we're not just standing by on the sidelines hoping and waiting. You must understand that we're here, all of us, to help you. Spiritual guides, spiritual masters, your guardian angels, and brothers from other galaxies and sisters. You have your human families and you have your off-world families. But we're all a big family anyway. I wanted to come tonight to tell you guys that we have not ever forgotten you, not for one single solitary second. We're always here with you. Okay, so now earlier I was asking him, guys, about what about our superhuman abilities or our superhuman powers that, what are the goodies we're gonna get as we go up? What miracles can we perform, or what's gonna be the thing? That's what I was trying to ask him earlier, so he's getting ready to talk to us about that. Well, you will have the ability to be invisible. And it seems to be a trick of the light when you learn of higher scientific principles. All of your so-called abilities will become normal and natural and very well explained. Invisibility seems to be the number one thing that happens as you go up in vibration. The people that remain low in vibration will no longer be able to see you in the room. It will appear to them as if you've disappeared. If you keep your vibration very, very high, only those with high vibration will be able to see you. This is how one could potentially go about avoiding confrontations or personal robberies. He has a little bit of a sense of humor, huh? Normally, I didn't know this about you. Normally, you don't show me this side of you. Okay. All right. So invisibility would be number one. Speeding up and slowing down time would be number two. Because once you live above the clouds, you notice that you're spinning at a different rate than the earth itself. When the earth itself is raised into the clouds, and then you raise yourself higher above that, that's when you're going to be out of time. Meaning you're going, and this is an ironic phrase because you won't be out of time, you will be outside of time, and therefore you will have all the time in the world. So it's something you're going to look forward to. You'll have all the time in the world to pursue your dreams, catch up on your reading, enjoy all the music you could ever imagine. You will have a great deal of time to just pursue all of your leisure pursuits that you have not been able to before. So look forward to that. Keep raising your vibration, because when you get there, you're going to feel a lot less pressure, a lot less of the time crunch, as they say. He's laughing. He's like, we never said that in my day. That's what he's saying to me right now. It's like, no, yeah, right, of course. Time became so important that it was the spiritual realm and the godly realm that became elusive. Whereas in the caveman days, it was time that was elusive. And God seemed to be ever present, even if people didn't speak of it. There was a sense and a permeation in the world of the love, and everybody felt it. And now things have changed and gotten so corrupt that it is time for this world to be out of time. And that's why when you raise up, you will be out of time too, but not out of time in the same way. You'll be outside of time. All right, so now what? What else? Telepathy, if you haven't guessed, you will be able to... He's saying phone home. Where are you getting this stuff? This is hilarious. He says, I keep up with culture sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. Yeah, but that's culture from like the 1980s. I'm sorry. 40 years later. He's like, it's still in popular. Yeah, it is. Actually, it's still it's still, everyone knows it still. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, telepathy. Telepathy is the biggest one that you're going to be noticing right now. It's a superhuman power that we've always had the ability to have, but we have opted for more private thoughts. For hundreds of years, we've been stuck inside our private thoughts. And inside our private thoughts is where we allowed negativity to fester. That's where we allowed negative judgments of others to grow. And it's like a garden that we have forgotten about, and we have let it overgrow. It's completely filled with weeds. There are bugs and rats in there. This is like what he's showing me. It's like this thing. He said, so if this is your mind, you need to learn how to clear your mind, start to love everybody, and stop with negative judgments, and stop with secrets, stop with all of your past. You don't need to think about your past anymore. That's what he's showing me right now. He's saying all you need to think about is a little bit about the future, but mostly right now, your present moment. That's how we stop the chitter chatter that goes on in our minds, he says. Okay. So you will have the voices of other people inside of your head when you allow it. You have to learn how to protect your aura, protect yourself energetically, and only allow high vibrational people to chat with you. Twin flames are going to be the first on the planet to be able to speak with each other. Although there's always exceptions to every rule, there will be people that have been able to telepath for years, and they're not twin flames. Of course, that can happen, but in general, it's going to be the twin flames first, and then it's going to be eventually everybody could chat with everybody. And there should be a protocol set up with this, right? I mean, Babaji, we should have a protocol set up with these incoming phone calls we can't control. You can control it by putting up a white shield around your mind. And then when you're ready to talk to somebody, you will see if anybody is there waiting to talk to you. Okay. So, but when I say, hey, twin, and he doesn't answer, then he's usually asleep, right? Yes, that's exactly how it works. So, I know that there was times when I felt like he wanted to talk to me, and I was busy writing an article for an advertisement, and I didn't have time to telepath with him. So he didn't really catch me, even though I could hear him. He says, yes, exactly. You can ignore people when they try to telepath with you if you're very busy. And if you're asleep, you can't hear them. But if you stay in tune, you'll be able to talk with all the people that you need to. You're not going to need cell phones in the future. Pretty soon. The faster you get up to the higher dimension, the higher part of the fifth dimension, the faster you're not going to need most technology, cell phones and the like. Very cool. All right. Now, is there something else? Another superhuman power? You're saying floating? Floating above the ground? Like with meditation? So he's showing me floating above the ground with meditation, but what does that really do for us? Yeah, okay, it says you're going to start to perceive other pieces to your signs that you've been missing. And when this happens, whether you understand the math of it or not, the science is real and it's there in the higher realms. You'll be able to float, fly, but not like, I can't just like fly to like Rio, right? No, he says, but like for short hops, we'll be able to fly a little bit, but that's when we're way, way, way up there. Will we have wings? Yes, he says, when you have wings when you get there. In the upper realms, a lot of you already have your wings. Do you feel them? See, I've heard this a few places now. So are we, all the people that will have wings, are we going to a specific loka? No, he says we're staying on this. Okay, loka in India, that's like a different planet. So it's not like we're going to inhabit bodies on another planet. He says, no, the bodies you have now, it's just that your ethereal upper realm bodies have wings. They have crystalline structures. They're way different than where you are right now, than what you're perceiving about yourself right now. You're going to have a multidimensional mind. When you have a multidimensional mind, you're going to start to understand the possibilities that exist in every instance of your world and of your life. All right, so multidimensionality. He says, it's so hard for me to explain if you can't see what I can see. All right, he says he's been living from a multidimensional life for a very long time. Obviously, thousands of years. And yet, to me, it only feels like a couple weeks. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, that once you get outside of time and you live outside of that construct. You mean like outside of the matrix? Yes, exactly. then you're going to be able to understand. He's like showing me that there's like just so many layers to who you are as a soul. He's showing me like if you have a box and then the box is made of lines and the lines are neon colors, like a neon sign. And the colors are changing rapidly at different frequencies. And it's like the box is like a cube, shaped like an ice cube or something, or like, just like a complete cube. And imagine inside the box there's thousands of layers going one direction and thousands of layers going another direction. And then imagine that you're millions of boxes like that. And every time it flashes a new color, that's like another life you're living. That's like the image he's giving me. And it's completely crazy. It's just like, and he shows me on the right hand side, there's like all this blackness of physical space with stars in it. Then on the left hand side, it's like all white. And it's like behind the curtain, it's behind the veil, and there's no stars or physical world whatsoever. And he says, yeah, that's where I'm walking. He says, that is where I walk between the worlds all the time. Between the physical world that are set up constructs for learning. It's almost like we built schoolhouses. And the schoolhouses are called Earth and other planets. But then in the white world where everything is just pure white light, where all the love is, that's a whole nother experience. It can't even be explained. It has to be experienced, he says. All right. Okay. What else? What else do we have to look forward to? You will be able to feel and think loving thoughts for somebody, no matter who they are or where they're at, living or dead. They're going to get the message immediately. Like twin particles in your Earth's twin particle theory. You have twin particles that are right next to each other, and then you can separate them by hundreds of thousands of miles. And you change one and the other one changes in the exact same way without anyone doing anything to it. That's a twin particle theory. So he's saying just like the twin particle theory, you can change people's hearts in a heartbeat just by sending them love with your mind. Eventually, it's going to be very easy for people to know who's thinking about them in a loving way. And there's not going to be anyone thinking about you in a non-loving way because you're outside of the world of duality. You haven't figured that one out yet, but you are. And you have to wake up, spiritually mature a little bit, and understand you have grown beyond that. You don't need duality any longer. So you're going to feel your physical power. You're going to eat less, sleep less, require less for your physical body, because as you take in more and more light through each individual cell, you will have a lot more energy. You won't need to eat as much. You won't need to sleep as much, only if you want to for pleasure. But it's not going to be a requirement, not like in the 3D world, where you had to sustain your body in that way. Now, he says, I'm not trying to tell people to go stare at the sun, because that did not work out for the majority of breatharians. The majority of them did die from malnutrition. So you have to know exactly, you have to have like years of training and know what you're doing before you start something like that. You can't just read a book and start staring at the sun. You're going to go blind and die of hunger. He's not trying to be sarcastic, but it's coming across as sarcastic, so that's why I'm laughing. It's true, though. It's true, right? So many people have died from that. He says you just have to use discernment and be careful. And understand that just because something is good for someone else doesn't mean that that's your particular path. Everybody is unique and different. Nobody's wrong and everybody's right when they listen to their heart. They listen to their inner guidance and their intuition. But everybody who decides to follow somebody else and does everything that they do and they ignore their own inner voice, then those are the people who are in a way sinning against themselves. In a way they're going against their own soul and they become lost. So don't let that be you. You can become found now that you're in the fifth dimension. Life is going to be easier. You'll be able to pull to you whatever material items or objects you will need. It will be super easy, really easy to just draw to you every single thing that you need, as if by magic. But by the time you get to this point, you're not going to be so materialistic that you're only thinking about money. So that's the ironic part. It's pretty ironic, actually. So anyway, he says, so that's, in a way, that is the ironic part. That is what people, they believe that when, oh, someday when I'm a master, I'm going to bring myself loads and loads of money. But by the time you reach the level of spiritual mastery, like, you're beyond that. You don't care anymore. It's just an outer material item to keep you off your path. He says, exactly. And he says, when you get to my level of awareness, what happens is you realize you can gather anything that you need, all resources, all people, all circumstances, all situations, will automatically be given to you and drawn to you by the Almighty Himself. When you lean only onto God, your version of God, you could say Divine Mother or Heavenly Father, whatever you wish. When you lean upon who your Creator is, and realize that He's the one sustaining you, loving you. You wouldn't exist if He didn't love you, if she did not love you. You see, there is no room for sexism in the higher realms of the spiritual world. We honor Mother, we honor Father. We don't judge other religions, we don't judge other people for believing different than we do. So, you're going to bring to you all things needful, both spiritual and material, in other words, just like in the pattern on the trestle board. Yes, exactly. So Mahavatar Babaji says, yes, exactly. Not only will you draw things to you, in time you're going to learn how to create things using only the power of your mind. Now he's telling me, you, Elena, you have read stories where people grew an orange tree in a matter of seconds, plucked an orange off and ate it because they were hungry, and had the orange for lunch, and then made the tree disappear. Yes, this is true. I did read this. Definitely read this. I don't even know where, if it was maybe in Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi. I don't remember. He says, yes, well, this is going to become a lot more commonplace. People will draw forth not only that which they need, but that which they truly want and desire. And they'll get to have whatever they want for a few minutes here and a few minutes there. Of course, you could create a castle and live in it forever. But once you realize you can do it, you can materialize something, then it's just, and you could dematerialize something, then it just becomes, once the game is over, it's like a toy, a child with a toy. After a few days, the child is bored of that toy. So he's basically saying that we're giving you like little kids on a magical cosmic Christmas, opening up these gifts, but once we get to know them and use them, we're not going to be as thrilled with them. He says, yeah, exactly. All right, so is there anything else? Any other things you'd want to tell us? Yes, he says. Okay. So after being able to pull anything to us, and then after, the next step would be manifesting. You're going to be able to travel by thinking, popping out of existence and popping back into existence where you wanted to be. It's going to be very similar to heaven, but the process will take a little bit longer. Heaven meaning the seventh dimension. Of course, if you raise your vibration up to the seventh dimension, it will be very easy for you to bilocate, be at two places at once. You can check in on your twin flame if you're not yet together. He says, but I don't recommend it all the time. He says you're going to be able to be at two places at once, or just go to sleep and then you recreate your body on another part of the world. So will we be able to, like, for example, fall asleep in Ecuador, wake up in France, and go out to a bistro and eat? No. It's not like that. It's a physical body, but it's less dense than your current body. So you can't just go, you can't just use this one to go have a meal somewhere. Also, you won't be able to carry money. But what if we could grab the money ourselves automatically? He says, it's not exactly how it works. People won't be able to see you when you're there on the other places. Okay. Except the people with the finely tuned sight. So you could go to sleep in your bed and then pop up somewhere else in the world. But unless someone is a spiritual master already and they understand what's going on, they're not going to be able to see you. That's what you're saying? Okay. So almost like we're astral projecting. He says, yes, it's like you're using your astral body, but it's not as gauzy as that. You're going to have more of a denseness. It's like you're going to be able to recreate your dense body that you have, that you're living in now, but it's going to be, I don't know. He says it's going to be less dense than the body you have, but more dense than like your astral or ethereal body, basically. Okay. So he's like, yeah, I'm trying to like get confirmation. I'm trying to get the direct confirmation. All right. So is there anything else that we'll be able to do? Well, besides recreating yourself somewhere else, you're going to be able to recreate your things that you need. So like bread or hot tea or any food item or product. So along with being able to materialize what you need to know that that does include basic daily sustenance. So, okay, so now when we recreate ourselves and we go somewhere else, we cannot eat. That is correct. But when we're here in this body and recreate food, we can eat that. That is correct. But is that food going to be less dense than us? That is correct. And is that food going to feed us and nourish us? He says on an energetic level, yes. On a nutritional level, less so at all. Okay, some at all, but it'll have roughly 25% of the nutrition it would have if it was direct. So if we create something from nothing with our minds and we eat it, it will be there, it will fill you up, but it'll be 25% of what your nutritional value would have been had you gone out for your stuff. Okay, I had a friend who said he could do this, and he was creating burritos when he's really hungry. He learned how to do this, and he created these huge, like, huge California style burritos. And he said, though, he'd have to eat 4 of them to be full. Is he, do you know him? Like, do you know about what he's like looking into it? Yes, he says exactly. That's what he was doing. He created it, but it was only like 25% of what the nutritional value was. So that's why he had to eat 4 of them. He said also that they kind of tend to disappear if you don't eat them right away. Yes, they go back to the ethereal. So you bring the dense matter together, but it doesn't hold together because it's created on a subspace level or above our dimension. He says that usually when you create food, it comes from an upper dimension, like 3 dimensions up, basically. So if we're in the 5th, so it come from the 6th, 7th, 8th dimension. Roughly. Yeah, he says roughly. Or the 9th, because all the odd number dimensions are physical places you can live, and the spaces in between is where your mental and spiritual space is. All right. Okay. He says this might be a good way to go on a diet if you want to eat 4 burritos. He's kind of making fun of me now. Why are you making fun of me? He's kind of in a funny mood right now. All right, Mahavatar Babaji. He is my spiritual master, so I've known him for like decades. Lifetimes. He's saying, come on, we've known each other lifetimes. That's true. This is true. You're usually so much more serious. He says, not with you, though. All right. Makes more sense. Now I'm seeing things fly around my room when I get into this trance-like state. Oh, I open my eyes for a minute and there are things flying around my room. All right. So what else do you want us to know? So the telepathy is not going to only be with your twins. After a while, it'll be with people on the planet. And after a while, everybody will be able to speak to their loved ones in heaven as well. So basically what I'm doing, like by channeling and telepathing with people, he says, you're kind of an early bird to this ability. So everyone's going to get the abilities that I have, but it's going to maybe take some time to develop and hone. So I've been trying to work on this one for a while, though. He says, indeed, that's why you have this ability already early. He says, but it's honestly and truly no different from any other human on the planet. You have everything you need in your DNA to do all of this stuff. So what about traveling in time? He says, what about it? I go, is that going to be one of our abilities? Yes, he's like, projection of consciousness is not limited to just this plane of existence that you find yourself on. You could project your consciousness anywhere, and in time, when you're in the upper realms of the 5th dimension, you're going to be able to project your consciousness and recreate a body anywhere you want. Even back in time in the 3D world, he says, yes, even then. Wow. That's really, really trippy. So when we're really good and we increase ourselves really, really, really high up there, we're way up there, are we going to be able to like have a date on the moon or something? He says, yes, that's totally conceivable. Have you gone to other planets? Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, of course. He's gone to visit Swami Sri Yukteswar, who's living on another planet right now. Ah, that's so interesting. And now, wait a minute. Now, where Swami Sri Yukteswar lives, it says in the autobiography of Yogi that there are, that no one reproduces unless they feel like it. He says, yeah, that's the case in most of the 5-dimensional worlds and beyond. It's only in the 3D world where it catches you by surprise. But in the 5th dimension, everyone controls their own reproductive systems. You don't need medical doctors or abortions or pills or anything. It's just, if you don't want to be pregnant, your body does not get pregnant when you're a woman. That's so cool. All right. So that's the other thing though. Now, when we get up to the fifth dimension, higher up, we're already here, but we get higher up, are we going to be able to get younger and fix everything's in our body? Yes, absolutely. You're going to live for a very long time, if you wish. And whatever ails you is going to go away. You notice your hair's changing color. Yes, of course I do. He says, and people are going to start looking younger. And you're going to be able to tell, because the people who are very spiritual will start to look younger. So if you go out into a crowd now and you see all the people, in a month you go back to the same crowd. Who's younger? Those are the people that are following a spiritual protocol. The people who have gotten older, or who have gotten really, like, for example, seriously injured, or those are the people that are being very resistant to the change. These are the people that you might need to send a little extra prayer out for, maybe mention to them, hey, by the way, as humans, we're ascending. Why you become aware of that, and then they will have their mind to make up after that. He says, normally I'm not about bursting people's bubbles, but we're here at the end of the schematic, so we're literally here at the end of this world. So it's almost like those people are on a train and they fell asleep, and they've come to the end of the line, and all the porters have to go up and down, shaking people awake to say, hey, get up. That's like the best analogy ever, Babaji. He says, yeah, that's pretty much how it is, though, when you think about it, honestly. They're still sleeping. There's so many people still sleeping. The people that seem to look 100 years older than you saw them last week, and they keep looking older and older and older, those wrinkles on their face is just resistance. The pain in your body is resistance. And when you have nothing but acceptance in your heart, the pain will go away pretty quickly. Now, we're going to have some growing pains still. You're definitely going to have growing pains still. But it's not going to be as intense as it has been. Once your skeleton is completely built, crystalline form on the other side, he says, well, your pattern's already built. Okay, but once you're anchored into the crystalline structure that is you in the higher realms. So it's like we're constructing ourselves, our physical body, because even though our higher realm bodies were always there in existence, the connection between the physical and that wasn't in existence, right? Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. That wasn't there. And we're connecting it now because we are all collectively ascending together. So it must have been hard for you, Mahavatar Babaji, to do this all on your own. He says, well, I had my spiritual master, and we had people around us that cared about finding God. So it wasn't as hard as you would imagine. But people like Yeshua, Sananda was a friend of mine. He came and he wanted to learn from me. He knew that I had been an avatar for a while. And he came to learn, and he learned so much on his own because he had that channel clear. He could hear the voice of God clearly. And he followed clearly. He was innocent. In his openness was innocent. He had an innocent, accepting, clear channel. So in some ways it was easy for him, but in some ways it was hard for him because he was completely alone in his mission. So when he came to India for a while and he saw us, and we were so accepting and loving of him, and he was already accepting and loving of everybody, including himself. And that just seemed to encourage him a little bit more. So, and were you one of the people that gave him herbal knowledge? No, that was some of the other Brahmins gave him the knowledge. Yeah. That's so cool. I don't know if you guys know this, but Jesus went from, during his quote-unquote lost years, there's all kinds of books written on what he did in India because that's where he went. It's just that they called him Sananda, so a lot of people don't have that connection. You know, Jesus fell off the face of the earth and then he came back, but oh my God, there was a miracle man named Sananda in India. Well, it was the same guy, but he taught, or he learned a lot of herbal healings, and then he went to Tibet and gave the knowledge to the Tibetans because he didn't have time to stand around and heal one after another. He wanted to give them the fishing pole versus the fish, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much how that was. So Mahavatar Babaji, do you have any advice for us? Anything that we can take away that will help us get there faster? Just open your channel as wide as possible. Be like Sananda. Have your channel open. Tap into your own innocence and your own power. Let go of anything that happened in your past, whether something you did or something someone did to you. You need to let all of it go now. That's not even in this world anymore. You're not in that world anymore. You are in the fifth dimension. You're not in the third. You have to understand that, because once you understand that, your life will become a million times easier. The worries and cares from where you came really just don't exist here. Focus on your godhood. Focus on who you are. Focus on your spirit. Focus on the things of nature, because that will raise your vibration up really high. Positive music, dancing in the sun with your face upturned towards the sun for a few minutes a day will definitely work. And yes, if you want to ground, he's referring to what I said earlier. If you want to ground and put your feet on the ground, you can do that. You could do it with food too. He says, even though I always recommended a vegetarian diet, I know you did. You know, he says with nuts and seeds. Yeah, I became very allergic to nuts because I did that. He says, yeah, not everyone can follow the same diet because everyone has different dietary requirements based on genetics. But everything is going to switch over soon, and you're not going to have to worry about this stuff any longer. But as long as you have hunger in your bodies, continue to eat. Don't stop eating. You're going to need your strength for where you're going and what is going to happen with you. It's going to get nothing but better. Life is going to get better and brighter, literally brighter. The sky's going to lighten up and be more pastel colors, even more so than now. You'll start to see things that you never saw before, not just colors, but the ethereal realms you didn't notice before. So you mean like mermaids? No, not mermaids, but they don't exist on this loka. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, he says no, they don't exist here. But people have them in their psyche because they came from planets, from other dimensions that had them, and that's why people have them in their minds here. Okay, so you mean like fairies? He said, yeah, like fairies. You're going to start seeing the devas, which are like the fairy gods of certain regions are called devas. So, all right. He said, just keep looking to the clouds for signs. Look to your fellow man for signs, because God speaks through other people. Out of the mouths of babes, sometimes there'll be a child who will say a word or something that's meaningful to you. It's all signs. The number signs that you're getting, when a feather falls in your path, that's a sign too. Don't stop believing in God, because God has never stopped to believe in you. You exist because God believes in you. He says, and if you don't believe in God, just focus on raising your happiness level. That's what your vibration is, basically. It is your happiness level. Remember, it takes a lot more muscles to frown than to smile. You all know that. So smile every day, even if you don't feel it emotionally, physically go through the action. That will automatically raise your vibration. So he says, shower with the intention of connecting with the water spirits and allow them to combine with you, because they're less dense than you. So obviously don't let them take over your body or anything like that, but just allow your energy to blend with them for a while, like communing, and start to understand that you're part of everything in this world. When you realize that, and that we're all one, and you accept everything, accept everything, you're going to find yourself stepping into a realm that you had no idea existed. And with that, you will be so pleased. And he says, basically, he's finished. He's bowing to you, and he says, with the God in me, I bow to the God in you. I bless you. I bless you. I bless you, my children. Please, Godspeed, be safe. Raise your vibration. He says, I love you all. Namaste. Awesome. Thank you, Lord Babaji. He's bowing. I'm bowing back to him. All right. I love you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak. You may write me at metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com or send me a voice message at anchor.fm/metaphysical anytime. And I will play it on the air unless you say private. And well, that's all for now. That's all I've got to say about that. Hopefully this has been an interesting one for you. I will be back tomorrow with all unique and fresh content like always. So right now I'm signing off with peace, and joy, and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.